listening to The Reflection Hour, a space for honest thoughts, bold shifts, and soulful self-initiation. I'm Sydney, a bar teacher, content creator, and overall a self-image alchemist. Every episode is an invitation to tune in, turn inward, and step into the you that you've always been becoming. Let's reflect. Welcome back to another episode of The Reflection Hour with me, Sydney. Today, I'm thinking a lot about how important it is to truly prioritize your own personal frequency, regardless of whatever situation that you may find yourself in. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think a lot of people, myself included, I used to really believe this wholeheartedly, that, oh my gosh, if I have this negative thought, then my life is going to be terrible because thoughts create things and I'm going to create a negative life if I have a negative thought, which ultimately I think does not help the situation at all. Let's be so real about that. And I also think by you being in this energy of worrying over the fact that you're thinking a negative thought, you're perpetuating yourself being in this cycle of not feeling good all the time. And by virtue of you not feeling good, you're obviously going to create situations that are going to make you feel even more not good. And I think the key here is to really catch yourself when you feel yourself going downhill. You kind of have to stop the train from going in that direction, meaning you have to stop the momentum of those quote unquote negative feelings that are not feeling good whatsoever, and instead go in the direction of what does feel good. Well, I'm grateful that there is air that I can breathe that's clean. Well, I'm grateful that I have my faculties here, that I can listen to this podcast, right? I'm grateful that it's a really nice day outside, and you start to really think about all the things that you can be grateful for, because that's ultimately going to put you in a nice frequency. And regardless of what you may be experiencing in that moment, when you can find the good in it, I think it's awesome. While at the same time, because I think this is really important, and this is different from what I'm talking about trying to really put yourself in a positive headspace, positive frequency. I don't think that you should be shaming people if they feel bad or anything, because in my experience, when I was trying to be thinking positive all the time, thinking that, oh my gosh, if I don't think a positive thought, it's going to be terrible, my life's going to end, that's when I had more anxiety and more resistance in my reality. And it's because you really do have to feel your feelings. You have to trust ultimately that everything is working out for you. You don't know how, you don't know when, but you just have to believe in your beingness that is the case for you. And then you kind of just ignore what's going on in your life. As long as you can maintain a state of always feeling good, regardless of what's going on, things are always going to work out for you. Why? Because you're in the energy of it. And our 3D realities are ultimately a mirror to what's going on inside of us. And I think before, I didn't want to be honest with myself about that. So instead of actually being real with myself, I would blame, oh my gosh, this thing going on with my job, or this thing going on with my family, or this thing going on with a friend, or my health, or anything, right? It could literally be anything. Drag and drop it like it's hot. You will start to realize that you are the cause of everything going on in your reality. And this is not to downplay very serious, real things that are going on in the world. You know what I mean? I am only saying that the only thing that any of us has control over, regardless of what we're going through, is the perspective in which we view it. If we decide to view it from the perspective of being a victim, then that's what we are. If we decide to view it from the perspective of, this is interesting, what can I learn in this situation? Not ideal, but somehow this is going to work out for me. I don't know how, but I'm just going to maintain this faith that everything is working out for me, and it will. And when I reflect back on my life, because I was doing a little bit of that today, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy, because even though at the moment some of the experiences that I had in my life felt really hard when I was going through them, I ultimately am looking back on some of these experiences, and I'm very grateful for the fact that I went through them. And the reason that I'm grateful for that is because it molded me into the person that I am today. And I felt the feelings when I was going through it, okay? It was not ideal. But when I look at my life now and how I feel about myself now, I wouldn't change my journey for the world, because I wouldn't be the same person had I not gone through any of those experiences. And if you can look at your life that way, that is a perspective that is going to keep you in this vibration of things working out for you, because that's what you believe, And I just think this is so cool, because then it really gives you free reign to do whatever and trust that everything is going to work out. So one of the things that I've kind of been working through is I'm like, oh my gosh, should I take on another fitness modality? I teach barre. That's really cool. And I'm going to be starting at SoulCycle really soon, which I'm really excited for. But I'm also considering, should I maybe take up Pilates teacher training, or like yoga teacher training, or, maybe some else type of training, so that I am more well-rounded as an instructor. And I think I came to the conclusion today that it really doesn't matter what choice I make. All of my choices are going to ultimately lead me to where I need to go. So then it kind of takes the pressure off of it. And I think when you take the pressure off of yourself, then you can be in a great frequency the majority of the time. And I really love that. And it's just so cool, because I'm sitting here, I'm in my room on my bed, I'm looking out the window, and I'm also seeing a picture of myself when I was about 5 years old. And I'm just posing. I have this pink top on. I have my hair in these cute little pigtails with these little baubles at the end. And I just look so happy, And one of the reasons I really like this photo is because I think it just captures my pure kid joy. And I think when we're kids, we don't give a shit about what's happening next. We really are in the moment. We are vibing. And because we're vibing, things just magically happen. I mean, I can remember stories for sure when I was just in such a good mood. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then it just felt like my day got better and better and better. And I still experience that as an adult now. And I fucking love when that happens, babe. I fucking love when that happens, because time just goes. It just goes, it flows, and it feels so awesome, man. And then it really makes you think, wow, I am so lucky to be alive right now. I genuinely feel that. I feel so blessed to be alive, to be me in this time, space, reality right now. I feel so fucking grateful to be myself. I'm so grateful that I am alive, seriously. And I remember where there were times when I did not feel that way. I felt horrible. I felt like I wanted to exit this premises, but I was never going to do it, because, why the fuck would I do that? I was also, at the same time, very worried about what people thought about me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what would happen if that happened? Then it's like the legacy I would leave. And you're like, that's kind of funny when I think about it. But it's real. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has thoughts like this. Let's be so for real. Okay, let's be so for real. But yeah, so I'm so grateful to be alive. I know what it's like to not enjoy what you're doing, not enjoy your life at all. It feels like everything's dull in your life. You don't know which way you're going. You have $0 in your bank account. You have no friends. But I think the most important part of the no friends aspect is like you're your worst enemy. And when you're your own worst enemy, I swear, nothing is worse than that. Nothing is worse than that. I would not wish that on a mortal enemy. And in fact, I don't want any enemies. I can be an enemy in your head if that's what you want, but I don't want any enemies. I feel like to have enemies requires you to be in this frequency of hate. And it's just too expensive for me. Seriously. I'd rather just bless you and move on with my life because everything is always working out for me. So even if something feels like catastrophic in the moment, somehow, some way, this is going to work out for me. And this is the type of mindset, I'm telling you, that is transformative. And I think it's only recently that this really started to click for me and that I really started to become honestly unamused, uninspired, unaffected, unbothered by these little things that come up every day, like a little annoyance. They used to really get me off my rocker, but now I could give a shit. Like, oh my God, it's taking a little bit longer. I have to wait here a little longer. Okay, let me just zone off into the abyss and start visualizing like my life and just be grateful for some things. Maybe see if there's something that I can read on the wall. Or the other day I was driving for Uber Eats, and this order, when I tell you this order took so long, that order took probably 15 to 20 minutes, maybe longer, to be honest, of me sitting in that spot, the food spot, and they're making the food. It's like I just got there when they just got the order, so they did not start making it yet, but also it seemed like they had other people who were waiting for their food too. I think one of the guys who was next to me, because there was like another guy and a lady who were both delivering for Uber Eats as well. And the guy, he was there before me, he just left after a certain point, and like as soon as he left, his food was ready. But I guess he must have canceled the order and said, F this, I'm not doing this anymore. Anyway, so then I get my food and the other lady gets her food and we go off. But in that time when I was waiting, they had this fish tank and they had these fish in there. And I was so amused, like a child, okay? I'm staring at these fishes. There's this one fish that is going around the tank and cleaning it. And the first thing that came to mind was Finding Nemo. And I was starting to really wonder if the fish think about their lives like that. Like, do they think about where they came from and the fact that they are just in this tank? Yes, it was a pretty big tank, but it's still a tank. Okay, it was a tank in a Chinese restaurant. Like, it wasn't gonna be that big. Like, still pretty big, but like, let's be real here. Okay, let's be real. So I'm like, man, I wonder if they are conscious and understand that they have been taken from their homes and put into a fish bowl. Nice one. But they still were taken from their homes and put somewhere so we can stare at them as humans, okay? And maybe me saying that, you're like, oh my gosh, this vegan lady, who is this? No, because I do eat fish, and I do eat meat, and I do eat animal products in general. I am more so thinking about this and putting it out there because the person who came up with that idea and gave consciousness to these different animals, whether it's that, I was also thinking about cars one day, and how there were no people in cars, but the cars had consciousness and they were all talking and doing this and whatever, and how interesting that was of a concept and all of that. And like, imagine if that was the case. Imagine if all of these things that do have consciousness, let's be honest, okay, let's be real about that. Imagine if they really talk to us in the way that we talk to each other. Like, that is such a mindfuck. Also, this is very much a rant down a different path. So ultimately, I do think that when your emotions are positive, when you actually feel your emotions and you don't repress your emotions and you allow them to pass and then you move on, and then you can be like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, that sucked, but I feel a lot better. Like, I needed that cry, and then you move on. Then you can adopt a new perspective because you're not storing that emotion in your body. And then you can actually move on in your life and be on a higher vibration overall, because ultimately what creates your vibration is the emotions that your body is generally vibrating at. And if you have all of these repressed emotions that you refuse to actually deal with for whatever the reasons are, then that is going to put you in a lower vibration as your main vibrational set point. And then what that means is that you're going to get more low vibrational experiences. And then that's ultimately what's creating your life. And I didn't really understand that before, but I think now I have a better grasp on this. And the reason I can even say this is because I just feel good most of the time. This was not the case when I was younger, when I was trying to toxic positivity my way into what I thought was my desired reality, whatever the fuck. And I'm really grateful because everything that I've gone through up until this point, as well as all of the information that I've consumed and applied and whatever, has gotten me to the place in my life where I'm able to fully recognize the importance of self-care by way of feeling through all of your emotions and being in a state of being that is grateful, that is allowing of them to just be themselves, like just be yourself. I think that's the hardest thing, is tapping into who you authentically are and not feeling shame about it. Because when I really think about my life and the reason why I did have those negative feelings, it was because I felt shame. I felt guilt for being myself. And when you feel shame and guilt for being yourself, then you're not going to be yourself. You're going to permanently be in this energy until you decide to change it, of being in the lower emotions. And there's this frequency scale that I think is extremely important, because essentially this this vibrational scale, I think it's what it's called, like emotional vibrations, of consciousness. Okay, vibrational scale of consciousness. That is what it is. Okay, so basically it says enlightenment, or really like pure authenticity, is the highest frequency emotion, whereas the lowest frequency of emotion, or of emotion, is shame. So shame, guilt is above shame, apathy is above guilt, grief is above apathy, fear is above grief, desire is above fear, anger is above desire. So it's actually better for you to be angry at something and to release that than to be in that vibration of shame, which I think is crazy. And I don't know about you, but for me, one of the first places my mind goes when I hear, oh my gosh, shame is the lowest emotion. Well, why is religion a huge pusher of shame and guilt onto people? Okay, oh, if you don't do that, you're going to go to hell. Like, God doesn't like that. Jesus is this. And what's his name? Muhammad, and whoever the people are of the religions, okay? It literally doesn't matter, okay? Take any holy book. There is always something of this air of shame, of using shame to get you to act a certain way. And by virtue of the church doing that, they are keeping people in one of the lowest vibrational states of consciousness. And when you are in that low vibrational state of consciousness, you are extremely easy to manipulate. Extremely easy to manipulate. And just think about it. If you're so fearful of, oh my gosh, if I follow my dreams, then I'm going to have no money, and then I'm going to be homeless, and then this is going to happen, and that is going to happen. And you just go down this rabbit hole of all these terrible things. You're never going to take the step to actually live your dream life. And you're going to stay in this life that you don't really love. Why? Because you fear taking that step and actually creating the life that you want and seeing that it's possible for you. And because you're in fear, you are going to compromise on a lot of things in your life, which means you are giving people who like to take advantage of others an opportunity to actually take advantage of you, because you don't know your worth and you don't realize that when you're vibrating in a good place, everything's always working out. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be worried about whatsoever. Like, you're good. You're always going to find a way, some way. Maybe it'll take a little longer. Maybe it'll come in an unexpected package. But ultimately, you're going to get everything that you truly desire. That's not things that have been thrust upon you by marketing machines. I mean, genuine desires that feel like they will add to your life. And it's not about gluttony and trying to overconsume and all this. I mean, like, genuine things, right? When you are at that place of vibrating high, of enlightenment, of not judging people, of not feeling like you have to be perfect in order to get your desires, of literally just living in your pure essence, then that's literally when everything comes to you. And I'm saying this as someone who is feeling this major shift in their life right the fuck now, okay? And it is awesome. I actually love it so much, and I wouldn't want to live anyone else's life other than mine. I really wouldn't. I, at one point, did want to, and I think that's because in society, we are sold this bucket of lies, as I like to call them, where we're told that something outside of us is going to bring us the happiness and everything that we deeply desire. But ultimately, the only thing that can truly make you happy is you. It's only you. It only ever will be you. So if you don't like you, why the fuck would anyone else? Why would anyone else? They wouldn't. And they're going to reflect the fact that you don't like yourself back to you through all the experiences that you've had. And I have had this for most of my life, okay? But things are changing. Things have changed. Things have shifted because I've decided that ultimately I just feel good about myself. Yeah, maybe I'll have some of those old thoughts that come up that are like, oh my gosh, like, is this too good to be true? Is that blah, blah, blah? But it's like, no, that's just a thought. I don't have to attach any sort of emotion to it. I can just let it be there. I can just recognize that that's my ego, that loud fucking voice that's trying to control you and all your actions, and it wants you to stay at a certain vibration because it's so used to you being in that vibration. And there's this guy, his name is Neuro Knowledge, and he talks about this and describes it as this reality or this frequency that you're used to being in almost becomes like this entity that wants to keep you trapped there with them. And just think about the saying, misery loves company, right? Or crabs in a barrel. As the crab starts to claw its way out of the barrel, the other crabs pull the crab back down so it can be down there with them. And this is the same case for your vibrational frequencies. It wants you to stay where it knows you. It loves you, okay? It has been with you for however long that it's been with you, right? It does not want to let you go. So you kind of have to fight this. And I think especially when you're in that shifting period, you're going to have so many types of experiences where it feels like you're in between worlds, because that's how I feel right now. It feels like I'm in between worlds in a lot of ways, where I'm not fully where I'm going, but I'm also not fully out of where I'm coming from. So you kind of get tested, or I wouldn't even say tested. It's really just that old entity trying to bring you back down to it to see if it still has a hold with you. Are you guys still besties, or are you not? And I hope you don't want to be a bestie with that old vibrational frequency that you know didn't bring anything into your life that you desired, okay? Because it's not bringing anything into your life that you desire, but you're comfortable with it. You're so comfortable with it to the point where if someone cuts you off in traffic, now you're like, oh my God, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. But what are you doing? You're feeding energy into that instead of being like, you know what? Maybe they had to get somewhere. Maybe their wife was pregnant and she needed her family members to rush home to take her there. Or maybe there was an emergency with their child or something. Like, maybe they needed to get home quick. Maybe they weren't trying to be a dick when they cut you off, you know? Maybe they just had their own thing going. And you can be like, well, you know, I hope they get to where they need to go, since it seems to be such a priority for them. I hope everything's okay. And I like to do this because I think it just makes everything lighter, because life should be light. And I think for the longest time, I thought life had to be this, oh my gosh, I'm so serious. What's going on here? But I don't think that that helps with anything, in all honesty, because who really cares? Who really cares? And if you care so much, then it's going to be reflected back to you in your life. And it's always going to feel like everything's so serious. And it's so funny because I was talking to someone earlier today and I was like, I used to think I really wanted to be a yoga instructor. And I was so close to getting to that point. I was all signed up for yoga teacher training and then I just didn't do it. And I think at that point in time, I just wasn't ready spiritually yet to go through that transformation, because I do think anytime you go through any teacher training program, I think a lot of feelings are going to come up that are unresolved, that you didn't know were unresolved, and you have to then resolve it in order to get through the training. And I know that was the case for me for Pure Barre. So I'm kind of just like, you kind of just got to roll with the punches, and you can't try to force things, and you also can't try to bypass the emotions that you're feeling in an effort to get through something. Like, the only way through is through. You know, there's no shortcuts. You literally have to do the work. Otherwise, you're always going to get to a point in your life where you have to do the work. And I think a lot of people, instead of actually doing the work, instead they decide that they're going to numb themselves, or they just condition themselves into being okay with the reality that they don't really like, because they think that's their only option. And I think at one point I definitely did believe that certain things were just out of my hands. But again, that's identifying with the identity, with the frequency of being a victim. And that is also, I think, correlated to the emotion of apathy, because you're just like, oh, whatever, who even cares? And that's a low vibrational frequency, okay? It's two from the bottom. So shame is the bottom, guilt is after that, and then it's apathy. So being in that vibrational state is obviously not going to warrant the best feeling life for you, right? So you really kind of just have to feel everything. I don't think there's anything else really. Like, I could sum this episode up into feel everything. Like, feel all of your feelings. And then as you do that, you're going to recognize that what you're feeling is going to determine your state most of the time. Like, if you feel good most of the time, isn't that a great life? Notice I didn't even say anything about what you're doing, how you're living. If you just feel good most of the time, isn't that the goal for all of us? And I think that's the point that I got to before I really truly believed that my ticket to happiness was me being a billionaire like Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm on yachts and I have a private jet and all this stuff and have all this money. And I remember taking a job, and there was just so much promise of the financial upside and how great it is and all this. And I was at that job for about a month. It was like a corporate sales role. And I'm like, fuck, like, I actually really hate this with a passion. I hate it so much. I don't even care if I could make a bajillion dollars in this. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing this. And I think we all have to get to that moment in our lives where we recognize that it's not the money, it's not the stuff, it's not the status, it is how you feel completely. If you don't feel good in your everyday life, what is the point of anything? Literally, what's the point? There's no point, because you hate how you feel every single day and you don't want to be here. That's no way to live. I would rather feel happy in my life every day, and on the outside, it doesn't seem like the most glamorous life, but I enjoy it. And I think that's ultimately what it means to live in abundance. Like, yeah, sure, you can have all the money, but if you have all the money, but like I said, you hate your life, it doesn't matter. You can also have all the money and love your life. So let me not correlate those other two, okay? But I think a lot of times we think that we have to do the money part first, and then the happiness will come later. But what if you instead did the happiness first, and then as a result of the happiness, the money was acquired because you were in a great frequency that attracted the abundance because you were abundant already, and your reality had to reflect that back to you, you know? So it's just a different way of looking at things. Again, my perspective isn't right. This is just a perspective that I have, that I'm sharing. You can agree with it, you can disagree with it. I genuinely don't care. I'm just sharing how I'm thinking about things lately and what's been helping me and what could maybe help you. And I just think when it comes to a lot of this manifestation stuff, it kind of misses the point for me because there's so many methods and all that stuff. And I remember hearing somewhere, this person's like, all the methods are great if you believe that they work. And that's the case for anything. Anything works so long as you believe that it works. If you believe that going on a walk is going to help you feel a lot better, then you should go on the walk, right? If you believe that's your coping mechanism, like, do the walk. It's going to work for you. If you believe that writing out your intentions every morning and then praying works, it's going to work for you. If you believe that going to church or going to synagogue or going to mosque works for you, it's going to work for you. It literally is all about what you believe will work for you. That's it. That's what everything can be boiled down to. All belief, all religions are just belief. Religion equals belief, but you don't need religion in order to have belief. A lot of people use religion as this third party that is connecting them to belief, but really all you have to do is have it in yourself and believe that things are always working out for you and feel through your feelings, and then you'll be good. Obviously, things will pop up, but so long as you're not bypassing and you're doing the internal work and you're catching yourself when you're going down a spiral of negativity and feeling bad and start feeling good, you will start to notice that your life gets better. And this is coming from someone who has been implementing these things, and I have directly noticed that my life has gotten better and continues to get better and will continue to get better. And I believe that everybody deserves to live a great life. Everybody deserves to be in a frequency that is awesome. Because it's awesome. Living your life, and I mean just living it, living la vida loca, baby, is the most important thing ever, because how long are we on this earth? Life is short but long at the same time. And if your life is made up of successive days, if you're feeling bad for most of those days, that's a sucky life. If you're feeling great for most of those days, that's an awesome life. And I even think about this quote, right? People don't remember what you said to them. People remember how you made them feel. Why is that true? Because when we feel great, when we have an interaction with someone and it's just awesome, it's just high vibe, you walk away from that situation and you're in a better vibe, right? You feel good, and good things are attracted to that energy. You know it. I know it. Whenever we're in a good mood, things continue to happen that put us in an even better mood. Versus when we're in a bad mood, it feels like everything goes wrong. Well, why does it go wrong? Because you're in a bad vibe. You're attracting things that you don't want. And I don't even want to say bad vibe, but like, you get what I'm saying. It's an emotion that is lower vibe. Okay? So, and ultimately, again, it is about how you perceive things. Because the same two people could experience, let's say, their business failing, right? But one sees it as, okay, what did I learn from this? And how do I apply these learnings into the next business I start? What skills were I lacking that enabled me to get to this point? It's a reflection moment to analyze the situation and improve upon it in their life as they move forward. Versus you have the other person, their business fails, and they're like, that's it. I'm never going to business again. Why did I even try this? Like, life sucks. Like, they just go down this rabbit hole. And like, as they're even saying these things out loud to themselves, they are putting themselves in a literal bad mood. And then these people are the people who are dark clouds, where it seems nothing goes right for them because they're in that dark cloud that is self-inflicted. Okay? Literally. Right? Emotions, energy in motion. Energy vibrates at a certain frequency. The law of vibration activates the law of attraction, and through the law of deservedness, you attract what you send out by the emotions that you hold in your body, which is why it's so incredibly important to be aware of how you're feeling in any given moment and to switch things up if it feels like you're in those energies that aren't exactly conducive to how you'd ideally like to feel. And exactly why you should also really not care about the fact that things may be happening that maybe you don't like. If you don't like them, don't focus your energy on it. That would be the worst possible thing that you do, because whatever frequency that you choose to focus on is what you're going to get more of, right? What you focus on is ultimately what's going to expand in your life. And I think one of the ways to kind of catch your emotions is when something happens, just take a breath and think about how you're feeling, like how you want to react if you're in that reactive mode, if you're happy, like whatever, it could be anything. Just become more aware of the emotions that you're emitting. And there's this guy on YouTube who I love. His name is Brian Withers, and he talks about having an emotional daily tracker, which I think is really cool. So essentially, like throughout the day, you make note of the feelings that you're feeling in that moment. And then you can ultimately look back on that and be like, oh my gosh, wow, okay, so I was feeling this way in the morning, I was feeling this way around lunch. Like, then you can start to see the patterns of your emotions on like a daily, then a weekly, then a monthly basis. And once you start to become aware of how you're feeling, you can actually change what you are emitting to the universe. So, something to think about. I think ultimately there's no such thing as a perfect mindset. However, there is such a thing as regulating your emotions and being very honest with yourself about where you are at any point in the day emotionally. And you should keep track of that. So I want to just say a little bit about my TBH rant, which is people get so hung up on bad thoughts, like they're hexing themselves with one mental blip. I mean, let's be honest. Thoughts are like radio static. What actually matters is the station that you're tuned into, the frequency that you're on. You can think 10 fearful thoughts and still be anchored in a higher vibration if you don't emotionally charge them. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You can't put energy into the thoughts that you don't want to affect your personal vibration. If you have a quote unquote negative thought and you don't like that thought, don't focus on the thought, because as soon as you focus on the thought, you're going to feel bad. Versus if you focus on a thought that you really like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for my car. My car is so amazing. It gets me from A to B. I'm so grateful for it. You start to feel really good. So you just have to ultimately find things that make you feel good and focus more of your energy on that. And then you're going to start to get more thoughts, more experiences that show up in your life that reflect the choices that you're making internally that will affirm this more positive outlook that you have on life. But if you're sitting in a low vibe puddle all day, it doesn't matter how many affirmations you repeat. You could literally repeat till the cows come home. You would just be spritzing perfume on a dumpster. Like, let's be real about that, okay? Frequency is absolutely everything. Everything. All of the astrology stuff, you could throw it out there. Like religion, you can throw it out there. It's all about the frequency, baby. Check the feeling, not just the thought. So long as you are feeling great, majority of the time, and that's totally possible because we get to choose how we feel. but you have to take responsibility. You have to take accountability for yourself and stop buying into the notion that you're this victim. Oh my gosh, life just sucks. Like I'm this. Life is supposed to be hard for me. No, you believe it's supposed to be hard for you because of all the programming that is around us all the time. Okay? It's the truth. So for the reflection ritual, which I think is really cool, and I did this before I even started this podcast, pause right now, and I want you to rate your current emotional vibration from 1 to 10. And I need you to be honest with yourself. Be super honest, because the only way that you're going to make changes is if you are honest with yourself and you put in the work. I want you to identify one small physical action that you can take right now to raise it 1 to 2 points. And that can be anything. It could be you go out for a walk. It could be you take 2 or 3 deep breaths. It could be you have a glass of water. It could be you put on a song and it makes you feel good. It could be anything, whatever it is for you. After that, I want you to take 2 minutes to visualize yourself already in the vibration that you want, noticing how your body feels when you're there. And this is about embodying, okay? As you embody an energy, then you are going to attract people, places, and things based on the energy that you are embodying. So the last thing I want you to do is say out loud, my frequency is my reality. I choose to tune higher. My frequency is my reality. I choose to tune higher. Share with me some stories that you have after trying this in the comments. I would love to hear it. And I will talk to you all in our next episode. If you want to further connect with me, you can look in the show notes for all my socials. And I've just got to say, thank you so much for listening to this. I don't know who's listening to this, but I'm so grateful for you. And I just love to yap about things. So it's a pleasure, and I am extremely grateful. Peace out.